Rick, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your day. We've known each other 3 or 4 years. We spent a lot of time working together on a large transaction in Melbourne. You and your family ran a large management rights business in Melbourne. I don't know the history before that, but where does the Yardley family history in management rights go back to? How did you get into the industry?
Good question, Alex. Approximately 30 years ago, I would say, when we migrated from New Zealand to Australia. My parents were given the great opportunity at the time. They were exposed to management rights through a family friend. And the first management rights we had was in Tenerife at McTaggart's.
Yeah, right. So that was 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
And how many businesses has the family been through during that time?
I've lost count. It's moved from a few, from Queensland to New South Wales, and then recently in Victoria.
So it's really the industry's really created a lifelong career for the family to a degree.
Absolutely, yeah. When I was young, obviously, I was there with mum and dad every step of the way when they were resident managers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably quite a wide-reaching question, but what about the industry do you think attracted your mum and dad and to it in the first place?
I think it was a great opportunity for them. Also, mum and dad were also very much about the people, and that's what attracted to them. They came from a hospitality background and owning their own shop back in New Zealand, where they were dealing with customers on a day-to-day basis. That's why management rights adapted to them.
Obviously, they've been in it for 30 years and owned a lot of businesses. They've obviously done a good job, and you've learnt those skills. What do you think earmarks a good management rights operator out in the crowd? What makes you good at your job in management rights?
In management rights, it's very important to be there for the people. When I say the people, that's the lot owners. You've got your occupiers and investors also in there. So it's really important that communicate with lot owners on a day-to-day basis, and being that face to the building is really important, and that's what attracts management rights to those parties.
So Rick, you've obviously been in the management rights industry for a while. You've run a few buildings. What are the advantages for lot owners living within a strata scheme that has a management rights structure over it? What benefits does it offer? What are the plus points to lot owners of having a management rights structure over the building? The reason I ask you that is, you come from Melbourne, where unlike Brisbane, not every building has management rights. So you probably would have seen the flip side to it. So management rights buildings run better than the alternative, do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. And just to name a few there, Alex, one thing that does stand out from the rest is having an operator on site. And there's a reason why they're on site, because it's also their business, and they have to make sure that, that the caretaking side and the letting side are both performing equally to, provide those benefits to lot owners and investors.
And what's the alternative? Obviously with management rights, you've got an on-site manager who's doing the caretaking, they're doing the letting. It seems obvious to have the management of one building under one structure. As we know in Melbourne, not every building has it. So what happens when you don't have management rights? What's the alternative?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a contrasting structure to Queensland. So if there's no management right operators involved, and Melbourne is a really good example, owners' corporations have to seek a third-party service level agreement with another provider on a short tenure, which, will only just comprise of duties, of cleaning duties over the day-to-day. There's no interest in the business and the
long-term outlook, I guess.
That's correct.
Yeah. So having the long-term tenure to management rights, it's a conversation that comes up a lot with management rights. The tenure, how many years have you got on the agreements? It's essential, isn't it? I mean, you can't run a management rights business successfully without having a long tenure and being able to look into the future.
Oh, certainly, and for any operator within management rights, it's essential to have a long-term agreement. It's no different to getting a loan on a house. Yep. If you need a financier to step in to help you to purchase a business, having a lengthy agreement is really important and pushing that over the line.
And when you take the example of the 700 unit buildings that you're running in Melbourne, how many years did you run those for? 10 years. So I'm presuming you were constantly taking a long-term outlook, constantly looking into the future in regards to what the building needed, upgrades. It was a long-term objective.
Certainly, yeah. It's all about the long-term objective. That's why it's really important. Body corporates and owners corporations in Victoria also understand the longevity of the contract and what the benefits are in the long run.
So since selling your businesses in Melbourne, you've had a bit of career progression in Brisbane. I think you're happy to talk about it on camera. So ResortBrokers sold the management rights to Queens Wharf, to Minor Hotels, and what's your role now, Rick?
So I've been the appointed building manager at Queens Wharf Residences.
Congratulations. That's probably about the top job in that line of work, I would have thought. There's not many better buildings to run.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to be part of this fantastic building and integrated resort development, noting that it is one of the largest in Australia.
So obviously that building, you're in Melbourne, you were involved exclusively in caretaking and permanent letting. In Brisbane now, it's caretaking and short-term letting. Is that correct? Most of the rentals within Queens Wharf would be short-term?
Yes, yeah, it is a large-scale management rights. We do have a balanced ratio of lot owners residing at the premises, and also a lot of investors as well who have appointed Minor to be the short stay operator.
Yeah. What are the advantages of running a short stay service department business under a management rights structure, as opposed to using Airbnb? What does for lot owners who are looking to place their unit in the letting pool? Why does an on-site manager do a better job than Airbnb?
There's two sides to that, Alex. One is that you'll never get a better service than the management right operator leasing out your apartment for you, whether that be permanent or short stay. And the second is guests coming to stay at your building. They provide a more personalised experience.
So, Rick, I think you're an avid reader of our management rights report, as avid as anyone can be. First one came out 2022. The fourth edition is coming up soon. You'll have your invite for the breakfast very shortly. What do you think about that report? Has it been important, in the Yardley's journey within the management rights industry?
Absolutely. Before you launched that report, there wasn't much, data out there on the market and metrics around the management rights industry, and that report has served an integral part of our decision-making processes. Yeah.
So you think do you think understanding the scale of the industry and how big it is, it's increased your confidence in investing in the sector?
It certainly has, and I think it benefits all stakeholders in the management rights industry and external stakeholders as well.
Were you quite surprised by some of the numbers in an industry worth over $8 billion? Did you realise it was that big?
No, not at all.
No. What's where do you see the industry going? And this is a very broad question, so whatever pops to mind. But where do you see the industry going over the next 5 to 10 years? Can you see any developments there?
In the current economic climate, I definitely think so. I think management rights are going to play an important, pivotal role in the future, and especially in the next 10 years of the lead up to the 2032 Olympics.
Rick, tricky question. I've asked you a lot of tricky questions. You've obviously operated a large building in Victoria, a large building in Queensland. Any obvious differences? Any to the operation in regards to lot owners or structure or how it works?
I would say in Victoria, it's a very new structure to many. It's a constant educational process with strata managers, committees within the owners' corporations. And that was one of the most integral parts when we first moved down to Victoria, was to advocate for management rights within our building.
Yeah. I might stick to Victoria as the example, but obviously you had a very big caretaking role there. In regards so you're running the caretaking agreement. The alternative in Victoria would be having the OC committing tendering to an FM company, operating on 1, 2, 3 year contracts. How are you able to provide a better service by having that longer tenure and being on site? Why is it better for lot owners having a management rights operator on site?
So it all comes back to educating those committees what the end goal is, the longevity of the contract within the complex, and if you can get to the point where they can understand that you're not just a short-term operator there for 3 years, that you have a tenure of 25 years.
Being an on-site manager in Victoria, running the caretaking side of the business, could you see that you delivered better value than the alternative, i.e. having an FM company in running it? Would it have been more expensive to have an FM company in there? Were you providing better value than the alternative, do you think?
There's more cost benefit in having a on-site caretaker, that's for certain. During my tenure in Melbourne, I did notice, many conversations with other strata managers that their service level agreements within buildings with FM companies usually didn't go anywhere after 2 to 3 years, sure, which didn't provide much trust to the committees.
And no continuity either, I suppose. So you're finding with the alternative with short tenure FM companies quite regularly getting turned over, yeah, less continuity, buildings not being run as a...
That was definitely the trend.
So Rick, we've worked together in the past. We've done a couple of transactions together. What's been your experience of working with ResortBrokers?
ResortBrokers were very thorough throughout the whole process. Sometimes transactions don't go through as smooth as we want them, and it's very important that someone like yourself, Alex, who did guide us through the whole process every step of the way, did certainly keep things on track, and your understanding as well of the industry was certainly helpful.
And as you said, the resort side of our work, which we've started doing over the last few years, you found that beneficial?
Absolutely.
Rick, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your day. Been a pleasure to speak to you as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
Perfect.